If it wasn't obvious enough from my previous videos, I am a fan of June or actually Ray on YouTube. And those who are also fans of theirs would know that they and their team are working on their series PRISM that's gonna be a video game. And needless to say, like everyone else, I'm intrigued. Prior to the news of them making it a game, I actually posted my OCs for the series in their Discord, and I want to share those OCs with you guys, and even through a digital sketchbook I made. But before we get to that, feel free to subscribe if you haven't yet, it really helps out. Starting with my Prism fighter, we have Jade. Prior to the events of the main story, she worked as a researcher fascinated in studying the gods, monsters, and cryptids inhabiting the world. She is extremely dedicated to her work, almost as if it were an extension of her life. And that dedication reached to the point where it did catch the attention of Apollo, which would lead to her starting to work for him even before the dome appeared. Also, not even a minute in, I have one side note. June, why can't you give Apollo clear and specific height measurements? Like, they said he's as tall as he needs to be, but oh my god. This was a struggle in dimensions. He's like a One Piece character, freakishly tall that would change his height depending on the environment. If someone were to tell me that he was the same height as this stupid bird, I'd believe them, honestly. Anyways, Jade is one of those kinds of people that genuinely enjoys working. She's also not as sociable, like she always prefers to keep to herself in her work and only ever talks to her co-workers when needed. And as described in the drawing, she's not very expressive and struggles to smile and show her emotions. The kids sometimes help her practice smiling, and it helps to some extent. I imagine sometime after meeting Tia, she would constantly bug Jade whenever she was working, and she would begrudgingly tolerate her, especially when she's her boss's wife. But once outside of work, Jade genuinely does show a fondness towards her, even going to ask her about the different Radiance kingdoms, but still respecting her boundaries. After Tia's death, Jade does show some concern and slightly feels unnerved seeing Apollo slowly lose his mind, but she chooses not to say anything. Despite trying to keep a work-only relationship, she does find a certain friendship within Apollo and his family, so she does care and worry about him. Jade is also known to be very observant. Sometime after the Prism course was set up and she herself applies to be a Prism fighter, she could tell that the girls are the ones responsible for creating the Prisms. And because he's her boss and her friend, she keeps that secret to herself, doing so out of the fact that she herself has a secret that only she and the family knows. Which leads us to the next character, Malachite, or Mal as she prefers to be called. Mal is basically another personality of Jade. And in a stereotypical way, Mal is the opposite of Jade in a lot of aspects. Unlike Jade, Mal isn't really that big on her job in the office. In the battlefield, she's great, she finds it more thrilling. But when on desk duty, she isn't as driven as Jade is and would often find ways to avoid doing work. She's kinda like a mix of Gina from Brooklyn Nine-Nine or April from Parks and Recreation. Needless to say, she can do her job well and she can take it seriously, and it's when she takes it seriously that she actually resembles Jade more. I like to think of a funny scenario where if someone were to see Mal working from behind, they'd mistake her for Jade, and it's only for her to turn around and like, boom. I also like to think that at some point in the story when Kat's team is fully formed, that's when Mal would be revealed. The rest of the characters would obviously have different opinions on the two personalities. Like, Kat would prefer Jade as she feels like Mal doesn't really take her seriously most of the time, while Jade actually listens to her. Reese would often be annoyed by Jade's constant nagging and reminders, but he prefers that over Mal's teasing over him. Mal and Zuzu would get along the best when it comes to clothes and fashion, as well as messing with Ben. Sometimes I picture Mal's dynamic with him being like Gina and Terry, especially when it comes to her crush on him, but she doesn't actually act on it aside from making flirty remarks. She would still think he's hot though. Nanako wasn't aware of Mal when they joined the family, but that was more of a timing issue more than anything. But they think Jade can be a little bit scary at times, but they also can't really tell if she likes them or not, to which she actually does like them, but she doesn't really express that. Mal, on the other hand, likes them a lot, and Nanako feels more at ease with how laid-back Mal is compared to Jade. She'd also join them in playing trash ball like June and their team mentioned in the game devlog. From their first two time lapses, their prisms are named Gem and Mini, which is based on the start sign, Gemini. Gem and Mini are basically the same prism and would shift depending on which personality is active. As for their transform designs, I wanted them to have something somewhat of a similar theme with each other, and one of the animals that represents Gemini is a butterfly, which according to Google is known for its social, versatile, and transformative nature. I made a few drafts and gave them the same main color, which is of green as well as gold as the accents. I was struggling with the colors since I had to follow the power scaling of how the more colors you have, the more power, and that black and white don't really count in the system. So in the end, I basically gave them different shades of green, some being dark that it looks like black but actually isn't. For the weapon, I didn't add them in the sketchbook because I was lazy, but the idea was that Jade would have this blade in the shape of a butterfly wing. Mal would also have something similar, but it'd be more like Zoe's weapons in K-pop Demon Hunters. In terms of the power scaling, I think Mal would be slightly stronger than Jade, and she would definitely flaunt that in her head to her. Going on to the relationship of the two, I'm not still sure how specifically, but Mal has been with Jade, or rather been in Jade's head, for as long as she can remember. And as of now, I'm still trying to figure out how the trigger would work. But yeah, ever since, these two had like a sister relationship. Even if Mal would often exploit or make fun of Jade a lot, and Jade would also sometimes insult Mal when she's mentioned, when one personality is dealing with stuff, the other would know exactly what's going on. Especially Jade would be the most likely to hide stuff, but then Mal would just shoot her at like, dude, we share a brain. And as annoying as they can be to one another, the two are each other's ride or die. And needless to say, they can be both protective of each other if someone were to disrespect them verbally or physically. They more or less have the only one who can make fun of her is me kind of thing. But yeah, they more or less can be pretty chill. Though I do think in some other universe, if they were completely separated, they would have been roughhousing each other a long time ago. I mostly like to think that they'd fight like little boys, though their main thing would mostly be hair pulling and boob punching. They are that single-minded. Now, before Jade and Mal, I actually did make another PRISM character. Ever since June released their character 12 into the story, almost everyone in the Discord server wanted to make an OC with a number for their name, and I am one of those people. No one should be surprised. I'm easily impressionable and influenced. So, introducing 6. This is all I have for her art since after finishing the digital sketchbook for Jade and Mal and writing the script, my hand felt like it was about to snap off. Here's a pic of the draft I made of her in my physical sketchbook though. I will say, I didn't expect people to like her design as much. Like, I posted her on my Artfight account last year and she was one of my OCs that got the most art. Anyway, 6 is a member of the Plasmatic Radiance Court, and yes, I didn't know that plasma was a state of matter either until June explained it. There isn't really much to go with when it comes to that side of the world, so when they do go further into the world building, then this would probably be outdated. But as of now, she's part of the court, and a lot of people there would know her for being a bit of a ham. Personality-wise, she can be a bit unique. 6 is the type that doesn't try to hide her selfish intentions. She's always smiling and usually speaks in a calm voice, but when she snaps, she can be Shadow Milk level unhinged. But at the same time, she can also be rather sweet and gentle, but also mysterious. She's the type of person where if you were to play a game with her, you can't really tell if she wants to win or lose. I picture her as a morally gray character, if anything else. I'll be adding a bit more in her character once we learn more about the Radiance Kingdoms, but right now, I like her a lot. So that's all my PRISM OCs currently. Actually, Ray is one of the biggest inspirations for me going into art, and coming up with these OCs was a lot of fun, and I will note that you would know if a series is good for me if I make an OC for it. Anyways, thanks for watching the video, and I hope you guys stick around to hear me yap about the many other blurbles in my head. Bye!